Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Masks Monday. Third time lucky. Apologies for that. We've missed a couple of weeks. However, we had one person who was lovesick and another person who was actually sick. But there we go. We have now finished the prologue. But what we're going to do, kind of obviously character introductions to remind people what happened last time, of course, and then we're going to do a bit of bookkeeping for reasons that will be explained later. Although you have, of course, finished the prologue, so you do get a development phase anyway. So I did write stuff down in case I got too excited, which I obviously did. So yes, let's start off with introducing our plucky characters who survived the prologue. So shall we start with Francoise?
Oh, that's me. Well, hi, my real name is Becky Rose, and I co-own this channel with this man who I've just put my arm around. Oh, the character. Right, yes. I am Francoise Pelletier. It's all right, we'll be serious once we get going. I am Francoise Pelletier. I think, maybe Pelletier. Pelletier, I think. Well,
Pelletier. Pelletier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have it down pat. You could almost be French. That's me. Oh no, I have facts about me, of course. I am the daughter of the naval attaché from France to Peru. And I like photography.
Okay. And Herr Braun?
Evening. I'm Phil. I'm playing Johan Braun, and he's a German scholar who studied linguistics at Würzburg in Bavaria before joining up during the Great War, fighting on the Western Front. Afterwards, he moved to America to take up a position at Berkeley in California, where he didn't really fit in with the Americans, and so was extremely happy to take up this challenge of the adventure during the prologue in Peru. And he's I don't know how he's faring now, because after that bit of adventure he's probably got a bit more of a taste for it and probably doesn't really want to go back to Berkeley.
We shall see. And next we have our Brit Arthur Dibden.
Hello everybody, I'm Arthur Dibden. Even though my accent doesn't really show that much, I'm a Brit medic of the Royal Army that somehow managed to survive the horror of said war and decided that he was better off on another continent after that, and some troubles his family had. So he visited the United States, Mexico, and happened to be in Lima for this expedition that the prologue was about. He also managed to piss off the entity inside the person that was in charge of the expedition, almost walked himself off a cliff, but still managed to survive that. So kudos to me.
Yes, I suppose, but from my
It's all
perspective,
true.
it wasn't really. You were very, very lucky, let's put it like that. Last but by no means least, we have Winston.
Hi, Ronnie here, coming at you with the same character. For now. I am playing a young, handsome, well-educated African-American scholar. So I'm kind of 0 for 4, so you're really going to have to use your imagination on me. And he joined the expedition because he was looking for a chance to prove himself as an archaeologist at a time when he wasn't being taken seriously because of his ethnicity. And yes, we're going to see what transpires next. But as he's very religious, and he's had some moments where his faith has been tested.
I'm sure it has. Okay. So, because we're going to do an improvement phase, you're going to get some potential for luck anyway back. So I'm happy to do a quick summary, unless Becky, you really want to, because I know that you were technically next.
Oh,
From
what,
the
3
news
weeks
look,
ago?
yes, yes,
Yeah,
and that as well.
We went to a temple and put a bit of gold back.
and we
Oh,
we
and Arthur nearly killed us all.
Yes.
yes, Arthur decided
sorry.
to take the scenic view.
Oh yes, very much so. Okay, so for those of you who are watching in particular, so if I'm trying to remember where exactly we started the session, I think it was in Puno. So you woke up in Puno after a night's sleep there. You did a bit of shopping. A couple of you went with Elias to meet up with a local, an old lady who has some sort of occult knowledge, and you learnt a bit more about not only the area but the entire legend surrounding the Karasiri, what supposedly was trapped up in the pyramid, which was the father of maggots, which seemed to be some kind of angry god that was trapped there originally by a more pleasant god. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head what that was called. Larkin had some weird moments, and Francoise managed to take a picture of him in his rather kind of hazy stupor. And you also got a picture with Jackson as well on Lake Titicaca, or rather next to Lake Titicaca, not obviously on it. You headed up into the mountains. There was a bit of a fright that you had when you encountered a farmer with his son who was bleeding everywhere, basically, from a Karasiri attack. Although good old Arthur, with his medical skills, came straight in and managed to save his life. And for those of you, if you've read the little newspaper thing I gave you, then that's made the Lima News. The farmer was so overjoyed that he allowed you to stay at his place for the night. By that point, you were all very suspicious of Larkin, because he was acting more and more strange. He seemed to be being a bit shifty and potentially lying to your faces, which pissed off some of you more than others. So you kind of kept watch through the night. Nothing really happened, but the tension was still high as you went back out into the wilderness. And essentially you got to the pyramid. By that point, Larkin was being really, really weird. He was really ill. And it seemed like this thing, either a spirit or something, took over him inside him when Mr. Dibden provoked him a bit too far. A few of you basically got mentally assaulted somehow, in some way inexplicably, and he made you go down into the pyramid in order to get the gold. You did, however, have your golden rod with you, and for those of you who were not unconscious, managed to put it back. Francoise was kind of left on the surface, and as she came round, she managed to actually push Larkin. Well, she impaled him, but then pushed him down one of the chimney shafts, so he landed 80 feet down in a bit of a burnt mess.
It was an accident and he hurt himself severely.
Of course it was. And after that, it seemed like the fat, or the kind of whatever the father of maggots manifested himself as, seemed to be trapped back in there for good. You saw a few Karasiri try and come back, but they started sort of dying, disintegrating. And after the relief came about, you managed to find a load of other gold. You were a bit reluctant to take it at first, because you were worried that it might potentially have other magical properties like the rod did, but in the end it turned out to be loot. So you took some, which I believe we worked out how much that was, as did Jackson, and you headed back to Lima in safety. And after that, essentially, you wrapped up your adventure. Whether you went your separate ways or not is really up to you at this point, but Jackson certainly goes off. He has other projects that he wants to do, and he also says to you that he wants to finish his latest book, which, of course, part of the last adventure would involve. But before we get into what happens over the course of nearly 4 years actually pass, we're going to do the development phase first. So, with this specific development phase, what I've decided to do, because so much time passes, it's not just simply like a few weeks, it's a few years. What you're going to do is, like with every development phase, you get to improve on your luck rolls, and you get to improve on your skill rolls that you have ticked. However, you can do your luck roll 4 times, and you can do 8 improvement rolls, with a maximum of 4 on the same skill. So say you've got a tick in listen, you can do it up to 4 times.
So are we ignoring the ones we've ticked? We're not doing those at all. It's just we've got 8 on any, or
No, these are the ones that you have ticked.
so 8 between those 3.
8 between those, yeah.
But you never got me to roll photography.
All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. All right.
So is it standard rules? You've got to roll above it.
Standard rules, yeah, you roll above, and then if you do roll above your skill, then you can roll a d10 and add that number on, and that's each
Okay.
time.
So the fact that I
Are you
only have
calling the
2,
shots?
the fact that I only have 2 skills ticked. I did mostly stat checks.
Okay, maybe not then maximum 4 rolls. So yeah, if you've got 2 skills, then let's just say divide it between them.
So yeah, just 4 for each. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, of course. It's getting hot.
Are
in
you
here
calling
already.
the shots, or we are doing it on our own?
You do it yourself,
All
just
right.
like standard rules.
6.
All right. So I'm doing the luck. Whoa. I need a pencil. All right.
As you're doing that and dice are rolling, hello to Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Fine.
I very nearly run it there. I improved 1
Oh.
skill 1 time.
Oh no, really?
Do we have
Nice game.
4 improvements of luck? We're saying, right?
You have 8. But
8
you
of
can do a
luck?
maximum, yeah, because it's 2 per year basically.
Sorry, 8 on luck. I thought it's 4 on luck.
Sorry, yes, 4 on luck, 8 on your skills. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I did get a little bit of luck, but I improved 1 stat once.
So 1. So all right.
93, yes. 1. Shit. I've just done 2. I've raised by 1 point each.
Yep, there's always one time where you roll a 1 after getting a really good
Alright.
improvement roll.
Then I
That's
got-
I've passed that one. That's a fail.
And 4 on luck.
2, 3. That's what Spanish. Which I've published, yeah. 6. Spanish off by 6. Excellent. Next one.
All right. So I'm done. I'm just rolling how much I gained.
Praise
Coolio.
6.
It may seem like you're buffing up a lot, but you probably will need it.
You're not buffing up that much.
Well, I
I'm
actually
really not.
just-
I'm really not buffing up.
Okay, fine.
I'm actually just gained 18 points in firearms.
Ooh,
Wow.
So
not
I'm
bad.
Robodoc now, not Robocop, Robodoc.
firearms, what, handgun or rifle?
And gun.
Fine.
Handgun.
Yeah,
And I
that
gained
rifle.
6 in spot hidden.
I
Hey,
got
spot hidden's
8
always very
in
useful.
first aid and 7 in spot hidden. I'm just rolling luck now.
No
Okay,
worries.
I got.
Well, I actually, and for the benefit of Stephen watching, Stephen, I did really well for once. Out of 4 rolls for archaeology, I managed to raise 3 of them.
Nice.
Same with spot hidden.
Okay.
I just improved 4 times my luck for
Yeah,
a
me
whole
as well.
total of 9 points.
Well, hopefully you won't be
9
getting any
points.
group luck rolls anytime soon, by the sounds of it, with Francoise' luck.
I did about half and half.
That's
Failed.
dumb. That's
I,
dumb. So luck.
I managed to raise 15 points onto my archaeology and 18 points onto my spot hidden. So
That's pretty good. I think.
Well,
I've
I've got an
Last time-
archaeology of 75 with a spot hidden of 58 now, so
Nice.
I think it
Last
might
time
be a while before I do it again, but I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah.
the most I managed, I got a praise up by 6.
Yeah. Make the most of this, because the rest of the time it's just going to be the regular sort of improvement.
And don't forget to untick your boxes.
I'm more
Yes,
than
untick your
doubled,
boxes.
I more than doubled my luck.
Nice. Okay, so another thing that Mask specifically has as a thing in an improvement is learning new skills. Now, I'm going to be nice. Normally, when you learn a new skill, you're doing it over a short-ish amount of time, and therefore you need to put your full attention into it and concentrate on things, which normally involves a power roll. But since, again, a few years has passed, I will allow you to learn one skill without having to do the power roll to see if it actually happens or not. So you can roll on a new skill 1d10 plus 1. However, in terms of new skills, things like art and crafts or languages, for example, that you have absolutely no familiarity in, if you really want something like that, you'd need to really justify what you've done in that period of time in order to get those points.
Well, I was thinking that considering the experience that we've had has sort of indelible impression upon me. I've took it upon myself that I should maybe learn some rudimentary Spanish.
Okay. Yeah, Spanish is okay, like sort of rudimentary level, because you've been around Lima. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. But I was thinking more kind of just random obscure languages like, I don't know, Arabic or something.
I think I'll go with occult. Just because of the thing that we experienced, the glyphs and such.
Yeah, and also you did meet Naya as well. So maybe
1d10
you got
plus
a bit
1,
of that
you said.
from eating the wood.
That wasn't me, that was Jonah.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? It's been so long.
All right.
I might try some anthropology.
Okay. How would you have gone to learn about anthropology specifically?
Maybe on my return to the university, I just started sitting in a couple of lectures in my spare time, or visiting the library, talking to the department heads, maybe. Just a little bit of interest since my experiences in South America, really.
Okay. What I'll say as well is because Jackson has some experience in anthropology with regards to his writing, perhaps you've been kind of
Oh, yeah, could be
exchanging
corresponding.
letters.
Yeah. Well, 3. Okay. Not
How about
massive.
you, Francoise?
Well,
There is a bit of a Call Cthulhu joke where someone takes the throwing skill. Because nobody ever takes throwing.
Not this guy. I'm probably gonna regret the time that I want to throw a grenade at a shotgun or something like that, but until then I'm good.
I've actually got throwing, which I can only think is down to maybe maybe doing sports at university.
I was thinking I might take up a handgun.
Oh, okay. Would
Because
you-
I'm always playing, apart from the one time I played a soldier, I'm always playing Cthulhu characters that can't shoot, and everyone goes around shooting stuff in a fight, and I just kind of mill around.
Fair dues.
So I'm thinking, after her experience journeying in the wild,
Mhm.
she doesn't like relying on men to keep the place safe. She's going to do it herself.
Absolutely.
So you bought a firearm.
Independent woman. Yes.
Yeah. So how does it work again for a new skill? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention
It
because
is
I'm a terrible person.
no, you're not. Roll 1d10 plus 1.
1d10 plus 1. Okay, that's terrible. So this is a base of 20. So I've now got 24. Woo.
Good luck
Well.
defending yourself.
My default skill with rifle is still better.
So's mine.
Well, fine. Okay. And as well as that, Johan, during the course of the 4 years, has his big 5-0, which means you also get an improvement roll.
And less hit points.
Well, I can't remember if it's exactly right. I know with character gen, that's the same. Third, turning 50. Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. So, make an improvement check for education, or edu.
Uh-huh. Ooh, 85. That's going to be tough. 95. Yes, I did it.
Oof.
Well, there you go then.
Wow.
Okay. And also, for physical stats,
Yeah.
you deduct 5 points amongst your strength, con, or dex.
Okay.
You also
Sorry.
need to reduce your app by 5 and your movement by 1.
Out by 5. That's
So
10.
what happened to growing old gracefully? Why can't it be one of these
yeah, well-
people who matures into
Yeah, you're in the wrong game.
middle-aged sort of silver fox that all the ladies go nuts for? You know, it's where I'm hoping for. Don't take that dream away from me.
That is true, yeah. No, I get that with appearance, because there are some really nice-looking older people. I know, by the way, that Winston also has his 30th, but you
Yes,
don't get any other kind of roles for turning 30, apparently. So your
I'll be
appearance is still the same.
5 now. My age stat changed. Whoop. I've improved a skill.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, so it's now
Choose
1925. So feel free to change your ages accordingly, if you wish.
Was age 2. Up there, okay. Oh, so I'm 50. This is 4 years later.
This is 4 years later, yeah.
I guess I'm 52 now. 51 now.
I'm
Give or take
49.
when your birthday is, but yeah. It is the start of 1925. Okay, awesome.
1925. Have you seen this new book by this man Adolf Hitler?
Indeed. Okay, so a couple more bits then before we kind of get into the meat of the story. Can I quickly get your sanity? Because you got a lot of sanity as rewards last time.
I have sip.
77. That's not how you say 77 in French.
I know, but I don't know 70 in French, so sue me. I've forgotten many years ago.
87.
You got
If I
87.
recall correctly, and my calculations are right, I got 73.
73. Winston?
68.
For 1, Winston.
What
So
can I
you're
say?
all doing rather nicely with luck for the moment.
Luck.
Yes, luck.
I gave you sanity.
No, sorry.
You
Sorry,
told sanity.
I'm really, really hot. Yes, sanity, please, yeah.
Yeah,
I
sanity
know,
is
that's
73.
why I'm engaged to you.
I know.
That. See, the moment you said I'm hot, I thought we'll just take bets now.
Yeah. Okay.
Becky would jump on that, leap upon that comment.
In fact, what I will do rather than do that, I'm only part
Too
of the
much.
because
That was too much. Thank you.
I'm sure I'll play that back and think, God damn it, Ronnie.
And nothing to do with me. Absolutely nothing to do with me.
Ronnie
I
got the point for that one.
This is how much I'm concentrating on the banter. Oh God. Okay. Right.
It's always you, Ronnie.
I
Could
thought,
you?
honestly, you bring the place down on this.
How
I'm
could you,
completely
Ronnie?
innocent for once.
Trust the Scots.
Shocking, isn't it? Shocking behaviour.
Awful.
Absolutely terrible.
Wherever they go.
Okay. Cool. Right. And,
This broadcast may contain some content inappropriate for young viewers.
I mean, it does anyway, but this as well.
But not as bad as Saturday night.
And in terms of bonus dice, you all still have a bonus dice apart from Francoise.
All right. Okay.
From
No, I
no,
used
Steve.
mine too.
Okay. I will see what.
A question from the audience. No, Steve. Well, sort of. It was the first volume of Mein Kampf, because I believe there was a second, wasn't there?
Yes.
So yes, 1925 when he was in prison for the. Was it the Nuremberg thing he went to prison? I can't remember. I think I'd remember that, not the date, but you know.
I always thought it was a book about headwear for working coal. Big thing about mine caps, but really.
Right. Let me.
And he's back with a bad pun.
Yes, I know. So
You blame me for that
double-checking
one.
your max HP. So, Arthur, you're on 13.
Yeah.
Francois 11. Johan possibly has changed. Has your
Hit
HP
points
changed?
11.
Yeah, it does say on the sheet. It works it out for you.
Yeah. So
I
there's
think.
a little strip under your boxes of stats. There's a little strip that says max HP. It should have worked it out for you.
Max HP.
Yeah, my max HP is 12.
Mine's 12. Yeah.
Mine's 11. Yeah.
Yours is 11. Okay.
I'm currently at 9, but
Well, you're
unless
back
you
to
put me
maximum.
back to right.
You're absolutely back to maximum.
You can put a camp on the end of that, Ronnie.
Unless you've been.
My hit point camp.
Unless you've been constantly running away from something for 4 years, then it's back to maximum.
Sorry,
Okay.
Jason. Jason. It's 10.
It is 10. Okay.
Yeah.
I have
Jason.
a feeling.
Jason,
Yes.
I'm an African American in 1920s. I have been running away from stuff for 4 years. Trust me.
Yeah. Okay. But physically running.
Literal running.
Fair
He means the same encounter, not ending.
Okay.
Men,
Right.
men with interesting fashion choices with bed sheets have been chasing me for 4 years. Have a thing for wearing dunce's caps.
Okay.
I
now is it-
always find it really funny that there's probably in America the same people who are protesting against wearing masks are probably people who are also members of the Klan. I just find this.
Yeah, quite possibly.
It's just I find a nice comforting irony to that.
Right. Arthur, what's
For any
your
of
luck?
our viewers who are members of the Ku Klux Klan and took offence at that last statement, may I just add?
Yes, if there are Klan members watching, and you were offended by that comment, good. Just
I didn't get your question, Jason. I'm sorry.
What is your luck?
My luck is 34.
34. Francoise, what is your luck?
If it could be equated numerically, that is 43.
Ooh, not bad. Johan?
62.
It's not a competition, guys. Winston.
It's 45, and yes, it fucking is. It's luck.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
It's the only one of my skills I get to roll.
Okay, so I know that in the past, with regards to if your character snuffs it or goes indefinitely insane or what have you, you said you'd prefer to go with an NPC that you've potentially met before or somebody who would be aware. So are you still happy with that in case stuff happens this chapter?
Yeah,
Yes.
first, there's all those pre-gens that we kind of did. We dipped into originally. There's still plenty left that we can.
Yes, yeah, there are the pre-gens as well.
Before anyone thinks about having to make.
Pre-gens or character in story, whichever seems appropriate at the time.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fine.
If you could not plan on killing us and therefore
I'm not.
establishing this.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like, compared to the prologue, this is going to potentially be quite brutal. So,
Glad we got a serious heads on tonight then.
in particular,
Absolutely.
with brutal, there's going to be a lot of handouts over the next couple of sessions. So, what I'm going to do, just so you can have the chance to read through them, is I'm going to be adding them to the drive as they come up, rather than after the session. So you've got a bit more time if you want to read through stuff, because there'll be a lot of stuff to digest.
So I need to get that link open
Bear
if
that
we
in
can
mind.
remember.
I've
Yeah.
tried to make it a bit more in chunks, like more digestible chunks, because when I first saw it all, I'm like, okay, what? So to prevent kind of mental burnout, I've tried to divide them up a little bit better. But again, remember that if you want a bit of time in game just to sit down together and look at stuff you've got or discuss things, that's fine within reason.
Could you?
Obviously, if you're being
share
pursued
that
by somebody,
link,
no.
please?
Yes. So I'll put them in chapter
try.
1. Let me just get the thing.
It's drive.google.com.
Well, he knows that app. How the hell do you
Then you click
share a
share
chapter?
with me.
Oh, here we go. Share. Excuse me. Copy link. I'll put it in the chat.
Oh,
Beat ya!
it's not a competition.
Back
I think we've
is.
established this as well. We've established that we're competing to survive.
Yep, and I just pissed off the GM.
Okay, so first thing, is there anything you want to add in terms of like how do you stay in touch as a group? First of all, not just with Jackson potentially, but how do you stay in touch? Do you go your separate ways entirely and keep in touch via Telegram or something, or do you kind of move around together? What do you do?
Well, first of all, I have to get model release forms off them all because I sell the photographs to the news agent
Okay.
site. What is it? Reuters, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the American one, but it depends if you stay in Lima or not, because Lima have their own newspaper.
Reuters is an international service for syndication of news and photographs relating to it.
Right, I thought it was just
More
US
than
apologies.
Reuters, maybe Associated Press.
Yeah, them
I
too.
believe Reuters is pretty modern than that.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah.
I don't know. I should check.
Reuters
Reuters is around by this point. But no, I thought it was solely kind of North American, so apologies.
No,
So-
Reuters gets confused as North American simply because we're sort of inducted with so many sort of American TV shows and films and so on that it comes up in. We're kind of lulled into thinking that it's an American construct when it's not.
Yeah. Associated Press was founded in 1846 in New York. So
Okay,
got
so
that.
for the photos, you're given $20 American dollars
Ooh.
It's not
to
bad.
add to the already monumental stash you've acquired.
Have I?
you got $20 more. Don't
Yeah.
spend them all together.
We got
Yeah, has
five-
everyone added your expenses acquired, shall we say, from the prologue
What was
Oh,
the
To my
answers?
assets, yes, I did.
to your assets? I can
gold
lend
assets,
you.
$5,000.
gold? Yeah. What was the
Yes.
expenses from the expedition?
I'm just trying to find it.
Cool. No, maybe I did.
Yeah, here we go. So, because you had your alpaca still with you, you each managed to take 5,000 American dollars worth of gold.
Mhm.
So,
We actually had extra alpaca compared to what was in the those we bought some.
how much gold do you need, woman? Jesus.
I'm just saying
Right.
we purchased an extra alpacas while we were out there. So we ended
You
up with
did,
more.
yes, okay, right. So, okay.
Just
Yeah,
So
we
saying.
got them. We got
get
them.
another $600 worth, okay? You happy?
That was
Divided
a cheap
between-
alpaca.
I mean, they're heavy. There are sort of smaller things like necklaces, but there's like cups and bigger stuff as well.
Well,
Well, for the
know-
necklaces, we can hang them to the physical alpacas, so we got more room to stash necklaces.
God, one of those alpaca.
Oh my god.
Work smarter, not
Oh my
harder.
god, it's like D&D characters coming out of a dungeon.
Yeah, you're not going to be D&T characters for very long, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I know they're heavy, Jason, but we're not carrying the alpacas. We're just putting the gold on them.
We got
Going, as
5,600
going back to the
each,
original
so-
question, I
5,600
believe
each.
that if anybody wants to stick around South America a little bit, I will gladly join him. As because of my background, I don't believe I'm going anywhere near soon.
I certainly will be staying I don't think I'll be staying there for 4 years, but certainly in the immediate aftermath, because there's a lot of sort of historical significance, pyramid settlements, and so on, well worthy of exploration. Again, I'm desperately trying to make my name.
Well, I am not actually going to adjust too well to going back home on the grounds that I really want to branch out on my own and get away from my father's influence. So I think I'm going to go to Los Angeles and see if I can make it as a photographer.
Oh.
Very nice.
Okay. I mean, I might stay on in Lima for a couple of weeks, but I would want to go back to California as well, and I want to take the rubbings we made of the language and the symbols, and get back to the university library.
No problemo. Okay.
So I mean, Francoise and Johan might even travel north to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that in real life with somebody who I spent time with, and I hated it. And that was just my experience.
I'm no longer
I was
speaking to
jet-lagged.
Johan.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, some of you stay for a bit, some of you, yeah, go to Los Angeles, that's absolutely fine.
Actually, my English is shit.
It is a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
not great.
Yeah, yes.
I don't speak French though.
Yes.
Good moaning and all that. Okay, now Elias does not have a place of residence. And he probably mentioned that to you at some point during downtime. But like I said, he is keen to finish his book and also, you know, go off and do a bit more research before handing it over to his publisher in New York. But he does keep in touch with all of you. He sends you letters quite often. And then eventually, when his book comes out, which is entitled The Hungry Dead, he sends you all copies with a little signature inside the cover which says, "He couldn't write worth a damn," as a little joke about Larkin and all the sort of chemistry he had together. inside the book, he does mention you by name. He doesn't go into a lot of detail, but he acknowledges that he did travel with you, and a lot of his sort of conclusive evidence came about because of you and because of you helping him and your adventures together up to the
I
pyramid.
gave him the damn manuscript. You'd think that would get a mention.
Yes, he does remember that. You'll also find, almost like a bookmark, he encloses another $50 to each of you with a little note that says, "As promised for a commission."
I just don't know one from the university reads it. Because they might know where the manuscript came from.
And just so you know, it is a fully publicized book, so obviously it's an obscure subject, but it goes out into bookshops. And if you go into a bit more sort of reading of his previous books, he's written a few in the past, but this one is supposed to be kind of his biggest work so far. Then it gets to around May 1923. And he kind of sends you a little update and says that he's onto a new project and he thinks he's onto something. And he mentions something called the Carlisle Expedition. He has lots of hunches about it, but he wants proper evidence to back up these hunches. So he's going to be doing a lot of research. So he basically apologizes.
Can you repeat the name again?
Yeah, of course. The Carlisle Expedition. I will put it in the comments, or chat rather.
Thank you, because I'm dumb. Carlisle,
Not dumb.
thank you very much.
Although having said that, Winston, as an archaeologist, you will have at least heard of the Carlisle Expedition. You might not know what it was exactly, or do you? Can you give me a luck roll? I mean, if you're going to blow your nose, then blow it hard.
Yeah. I thought I muted the mic. I'm sorry. So sorry.
It's okay.
I thought I was getting jeers from the crowd there.
The Vuvuzela.
Make a luck roll.
Oh dear.
Not even remotely close.
No. Okay. So you have heard of it, but you didn't really read too much into it. You didn't kind of keep any sort of newspaper clippings or anything. But
Okay.
you know where to get it, and your curiosity gets the better of you. So you know how to get hold of sort of the newspaper clippings and a bit of research.
Okay.
Because you do know that it is something to do with archaeology, potentially. It's quite a big sort of journey and expedition, something that happened a few years ago.
I will see what I can peruse.
Indeed. I won't make you roll, because it's all potential plot. But I'm going to start putting some stuff in... Where is it? In the drive, but I'll read it out as well for you as well, and put this up here. So I'm going to be showing you a few different newspaper clippings that happen over time. There is a date at the top of each, though it is quite small, but I'll try and remember to read them out. So the first instance of this is April the 4th, 1919. Big Apple Dateline. Roger Carlyle, the playboy, whom everybody knows, or knows about, is quietly leaving New York tomorrow to check out the tombs of Egypt. You've seen the cuties Roger has found in the night spots, so who can doubt he'll dig up something equally fabulous from the Egyptian sands. There's a few of these, so bear with me. And I'm putting them into the drive now. Next one is Carlisle Expedition embarks for London. Oh, I can't even read that. Hold on a second. April the 5th, 1919. Led by the fabulously wealthy playboy Roger Carlyle, the Carlisle Expedition departed this morning for Southampton aboard the British steamship Imperial Standard. Contrary to earlier reports, the expedition will perform researches in London under the auspices of the Penhew Foundation, before continuing to Egypt next month. Readers may recall the enormous party which Mr. Carlyle, now 24, gave at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel upon reaching his majority. Since then, scandals and indelicate behaviour have become Carlyle's trademark, but he has never become tarnished in the eyes of Manhattanites. Members of the expedition have been reluctant to reveal their purpose in Egypt. Excuse me. Other expedition members. Renowned Egyptologist Sir Aubrey Penhew is assistant leader of the team and in charge of excavations. Dr. Robert Houston, a fashionable Freudian psychologist, accompanies the expedition to pursue parallel researches into ancient pictographs. And Miss Hypatia Masters, linked in the past to Carlyle, will act as photographer and archivist. Mr. Jack Brady as well, intimate to Mr. Carlyle, accompanies the group as general factotum. Additional members may be secured while in London. And that's in the drive. Next one. Carlyle departs Egypt. July the 4th, 1919. Cairo. Sir Aubrey Penhew, temporary spokesman for the Carlyle expedition, indicated Thursday that the leaders are taking ship to East Africa for a well-earned rest. Sir Aubrey debunked rumours that the expedition had discovered clues to the legendary wealth of the lost mines of King Solomon, maintaining that the party was going on safari in respite from our sandy labours. Roger Carlyle, wealthy New York leader of the expedition, was unavailable for comment, still suffering from his recent sunstroke. Discussing that unfortunate incident, local experts declared Egypt entirely too hot for Anglo-Saxons at this time of year, and suggested that the young American had not been well served by his democratic enthusiasm, rumoured to have led him to personally wield pick and shovel. In other words, he was a bit out of his depth. Next one. Important visitors. July 31st, 1919, from Mombasa. Leading members of an American archaeological expedition arrived here on holiday from digs in Egypt's Nile Valley. Our Undersecretary, Mr. Royston Whittington, held a welcoming dinner for them at Collingswood House, where the wit of Sir Aubrey Penhew, expedition co-leader, was much in evidence. Accompanying Sir Aubrey are the youthful financier Roger Carlyle and medical doctor Robert Houston, as well as socialite Miss Hypatia Masters. The party leaves inland today for Nairobi and hunting. Couple more of these.
Is one of them number one? Because all these are coming in starting from two.
No,
Okay.
no, I made sure to double check. The number one, it's kind of more a reference thing, which I'm going to give to you anyway, but it's not part of the newspaper clipping, so don't worry. But yes, well spotted. Okay.
So I have to keep leaning for the kitty.
Okay, October the 15th, 1919, Mombasa. Carlyle expedition feared lost. Uplands Police representatives today asked for public assistance concerning the possible disappearance of the Carlyle expedition. No word of the party has been received in nearly 2 months. The group includes wealthy playboy even, Roger Carlyle, and 4 other American citizens, as well as Egyptologist Sir Aubrey Penhew of the United Kingdom. The expedition left Nairobi on August 3rd, ostensibly on safari, but rumour insisted that they actually were after legendary biblical treasures. Carlyle and his party reportedly intended to explore portions of the Great Rift Valley to the northwest of Nairobi. March the 11th, 1920. Erica Carlyle arrives in Africa. Mombasa, still. In response to clues, Miss Erica Carlyle, sister to the American leader of the Lost Carlyle expedition, arrived in port today aboard the Egyptian vessel Fount of Life. Several Kikuyu villager reports recently have been received concerning the putative massacre of unnamed whites near the Aberdare forest. Miss Carlyle declared her intention to find her brother regardless of the effort needed. She brought with her the nucleus of a large expedition. Detailing agents to coordinate supply and other activities with colony representatives, Miss Carlyle and the remainder of her party depart for Nairobi tomorrow. Her companion, Mrs. Victoria Post, indirectly emphasized Miss Carlyle's purposefulness by recounting the rigors of the voyage. Carlyle massacre confirmed. Still in Nairobi, the massacres of the long-missing Carlyle expedition was confirmed today by district police representatives. Roger Carlyle, New York's rollicking playboy, is counted among the dead. Authorities blame hostile Nandi tribesmen for the shocking murders. Remains of at least 24 expedition members and bearers are thought found in remote region of the Aberdare forest. Erica Carlyle, Roger Carlyle's sister and apparent heiress to the Carlyle family fortune, led the dangerous search for her brother and his party. She credited Kikuyu tribesmen for the discovery, though police actually found the site. Among other expedition members believed lost are Sir Aubrey Penhew, noted Egyptologist, New York socialite Hypatia Masters, and Dr. Robert Houston. Many bearers are also reported dead. And last one. Murderers hanged. June 19th, 1920. 5 Nandi tribesmen, convicted ringleaders of the vicious Carlyle expedition massacre, were executed this morning after a short, expertly conducted trial. To the end, the tribesmen steadfastly refused to reveal why they had slaughtered Mr. Carlyle and his companions. Mr. Harvis, acting for the colony, cleverly implied throughout the trial that the massacre was racial in motivation, and that the fair-skinned victims were subject to the most savage treatment, preventing all but the most preliminary identification of the remains. Miss Erica Carlyle, defeated in her efforts to rescue her brother, left several weeks ago, but is surely comforted now by the triumph of justice.
Just a little note, number 8 isn't shared, by the way.
Missing.
You are correct. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. And now it is handout 1. Wherever it is. Hold on a minute. In fact, no, before handout 1. So, that is what you come to know Winston. And of course, if you want to let the others know, that's absolutely fine. I've just realised I'm so sorry I had the little screen on rather than the big screen.
So well, when I contact them, I will send them all the clippings. That way, everyone can actually see what has been written rather than me parroting it off.
Yes, so this is presumably what Jackson is researching into. But in terms of... Hold on a minute, there we go. Talking about any details, he doesn't really give any, even if you ask. Even if you ask or offer to help him, he politely turns it down, and he kind of wants to get on with it himself and make sure that he has everything first before deducing any more.
Where are you currently?
Again, he doesn't really give that much away, but he does say that he's done a lot of travelling. Pretty much all over, actually. He does mention that he's been to England at least one point. But he is quite vague on this, and even if you press him, he doesn't give any more. In fact, at one point, he actually stops writing altogether. Even if you try and get hold of him, there's no response at all. Until the very end of 1924, you receive a telegram, or rather it's sent at the end of 1924, but you actually receive this all as telegrams on the 3rd of January 1925, which is signed by him, but this is what it says.
Said January 1925, right?
Yeah, 1925. There we go. And I'll remember now to do this. There we go.
January or February?
January 1925.
Right.
Okay. Have information concerning Carlisle expedition, stop. Need reliable investigative team, stop. Meet January 15th, New York, stop. Jackson Elias.
Has he sent that just to me, or has he sent it to everyone?
He sent it to all of you, but again, because he's been AWOL for at least a couple of months, it's a bit kind of out of the blue.
Well, he says New York, but doesn't mention a meeting place within New York. Suppose we can find him when we get there. It can't be that big a city.
All right.
Yeah, that's odd. I mean,
Yeah.
him not writing for weeks, even months, and then saying, "Okay, let's meet up here, the biggest city, one of the biggest cities in the world." I mean, I'm going because I'm going, but that's weird.
It's not quite the biggest city. At this period of time, it's the second biggest. London is still like the biggest in terms of like, you know, the West and things. But New York is definitely on the verge of taking it over. Presumably, you're all going to go to New York.
To where in New York? It is not clear.
No, it isn't. You're not sure if he's going to contact you once you get there.
How?
You're not sure.
Do we
but-
have the contact details for him at the moment?
I mean, you could try and reach him via
Telegram him back. Say when,
Telegram back.
where.
Can we try and reply to him through his publisher?
Yeah.
Oh, from his publisher. Okay, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it's not a problem. So you get in touch with his publisher. His name is Jonah Kensington. And Jonah basically says to you that he is aware that you've been contacted by Jackson. He also agrees it's a bit odd, given he's also not heard from him in a while. But he says, knowing Jackson, he will probably get in touch with you once, you know, it gets close to the 15th as to where to meet.
The 15th? That was mentioned somewhere?
In the telegram, yeah. Meet Joe on the 15th, New York.
Oh.
In fact, what am I doing? I haven't put it in the thing.
Which we have about we have about 10 days, 12 days, just shy of 2 weeks to get there, which is more than enough time.
Yes. Yeah, from Los Angeles, that's fairly easy. It's by train. If you're still in Lima, that would be ocean liner, but again, it doesn't take too long to get there, about a week or so.
Yeah, I will. I mean, I wasn't there in Lima for the entire 4 years. By then, I would have been back in Los Angeles or San Francisco.
Okay.
So I will take a train. I'll wait about a week, though. That gives me some supplies.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Anything important you want to note down your sheets or anything you want to mention, that's fine.
Yeah. Remembering fine well what happened the last expedition we went on with Jackson, I'm not going to go down the split second route of saying I want big fucking guns, but I am going to get more ammo.
I mean, if you're going to New York, you know, it's not too bad for guns. But
Yeah, I'd like to have the ammo with me as I'm traveling.
yeah, that
Well,
is
we
fair.
could
I would
poss-
also like to buy a pistol.
Sure.
I guess I'll
Absolutely
take the
fine.
plane to New York City.
Planes weren't really a thing back then. They were sort of getting going, but they weren't widely for domestic use at this point.
No,
That
not
I'm not making it to New York, I believe.
I mean, you could arrive late if you want, but I'm happy given where the plot's going. I'm happy to kind of veto that and say
The
that you do
DC-3
it.
was already in service, so I think that was the first one to do the Atlantic, wasn't it?
Well, depending on the urgency, I may even climb on a cargo plane, paying my amount in order to make it faster. But if I have to rely on boats or trains from South America to New York, I won't make it in time.
Let's have a look because I think I know how long it takes.
Especially because I believe I don't have any kind of residence, I think, suggesting me that, yeah, okay, I may go back to the US.
Yeah. Whichever you prefer, but I think with boats, because especially if it's clear sailing, then you should make it. It should be okay. I'm going to make it okay, because I
Yeah.
think it would be unfair if you all weren't there at the same time.
Yeah,
that is
it
my meta.
mainly depends on that. I was reading again my background if I maybe missed or didn't remember something, but actually I was of assistance in the aftermath of the Spanish flu in South America. So I don't have that many reasons to go back to the US once I'm already in South America, where I'm
Okay.
working and such.
Okay. Fine. Well, what I'll say is that you can still get up there from South America by boat.
Alright.
You might arrive maybe a day after the others. I don't have a problem with that. But what I'll say is that presumably you will, attempt to meet up with each other, or I don't know, organize a hotel or something like that. You have a choice depending on how much money you want to spend. There's the more kind of wealthy hotels in Midtown. So you've got the Waldorf Astoria mentioned in the article. For the top end, you've also got the Plaza Hotel, which is well within the city. There is also the Alcazar Hotel, which is around the corner, but that's a lot more, let's say, salubrious in nature. Lots of bootleggers like to stay there. Kind of more in the middle is the Times Square Hotel as well. So lots of different choices. Oh, there's even there's a Hotel Gerard as well, which is not too far from Times Square.
Given that the only connection we have is the Waldorf Astoria, I will stay there.
Okay, going for top end.
well, when we can afford it.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
yeah,
rich.
I mean, we have a little bit of cash.
You might have the smallest rooms without a view.
Yeah, fine.
Because yeah, it's pricey. It's the lowest prices start around $6 a day. $6 American a day. which is
This
quite
is
a lot of
within my
money.
spending level.
What's the high end?
It depends how many services you want with the room, but it can range from sort of $100, $150 per night. If you want like the proper full executive suite and stuff like that.
Any other hotel works for me. Any other.
Plaza.
Oh, there's also
$6 or $60 a night. You said for the basic room.
You said
Six.
16.
6, yeah, the absolute most basic.
So well, I'll get something in the middle. Paid like 20 odd.
Okay.
It's a holiday. Sounds like we're about to go on an expedition. A little luxury first would be nice.
Yeah, absolutely, it's true. But bear in mind, it
And
is
I've not been to New York.
$1925, so $20 is a lot of money. It's at least
Yeah, but-
$200.
$20 is like my spending level is like $10, right? So that's I think Cthulhu money I could spend without even bothering to
Okay.
log it.
That's
So
fine, as
it's
long
only
as you
double that.
originate.
If it's a holiday, it's a special event. It's not a big deal. It's
Okay. So you're staying at the Wall. I'll call it the Waldorf. You mentioned Arthur. You wanted to stay somewhere else.
No, I'm good. I'm good with their
You're going to
choice.
stay in the same place.
Yes.
Okay. Same with the two.
I have spent $7. So I now have 600 rounds of 38 ammunition.
600 on an allowing count.
I believe in being prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Running away from men in bed sheets will do that to you.
Johan was going to pump for the Plaza.
What does the pistol cost? It depends what kind of pistol you want. But I can get the book for you.
Spanish Astra. Or would that not be? Would they not be around yet? I don't know what's in the book actually.
In the book, handguns.
Yeah, Astra was around then. Astra 400.
I'm sure it was, but there's no details in here, and I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
very good with comparing guns to each other, unfortunately.
It's fine.
Okay, you've got a few different ones. You've got a 2.5 Derringer, 32 revolver, 32 automatic, 357 Magnum, 38 or 9mm revolver, 38 automatic. I mean, if you want to go Luger, you can, but obviously, probably not the best time to wield German guns.
No, I love the 38 automatic.
38 automatic. Okay, so
Yeah, same what I've got.
I bought a German gun when I was in South America. When we went on the
Well,
expedition.
I mean, you're German, so you can get away with it a bit more, but given what's going on in the world. So, damage for the 38 automatic is 1d10.
It's got a range of 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Attack is 1, then brackets 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it will hold an 8 bullet clip.
Yep. Malfunction is 99.
Yeah. Which is why I've been very specific in making sure that when I buy ammo, I'm buying them in ways that will divide nicely with 8. Although 600 doesn't.
Okay, so what does that cost with a box of ammo?
$33.
A box of 138 short rounds will cost you $1.75 for a box of 100. So you can go nuts.
Yeah, I'm not going to be that strict on money. I'm not going to be counting to the cents, but obviously if you run out of money, then I'll count that. But okay, cool. So it has now come to the day before the date that he's put on the telegram, so the 14th, Wednesday the 14th of January. is there anything apart from this meeting tomorrow that you want to do today?
Yeah, I'm in New York for the first time. I will go to Times Square. I
Okay.
will try to get breakfast at Tiffany's and discover it isn't not a place that serves food.
Indeed.
I'm very disappointed. What the fuck is this expression about? Angry. I will go for Central Park to the walk, go to the Ramble, punch any Karens in the mouth, and keep moving. And
Is there anything, like, have you got any thoughts that you want to discuss about the Carlisle expedition given the newspaper clippings, or are you kind of all late?
State Building.
Yes.
That's there then, isn't it? Yeah, I'll go up that.
Is it? I'm
Is
not
it?
sure,
I'm not sure.
actually.
Might be too early.
I think you're a little bit too early. It's not as high.
Statue of Liberty's there.
Oh, no, started 1930. Yeah, I'll go to the Statue of Liberty. It is French after all.
It is, yes.
Yeah.
We also have one in France.
Am
You
I
sing the
in New
anthem
York
while you're
already?
I'll
I'm
say
not.
yes by this point.
All right.
Who else did the French give a statue to? I forget now.
I am, with regards to the expedition, I'm going to wait because I don't want to preempt what Jackson says.
Okay.
And I think, once Jackson tells us exactly what he's on, then that might give us some ideas of sort of information we want to get before we head off, or if we head off.
Or perhaps we all meet up for lunch or something before that day.
Yeah,
The
sure.
day before the meeting.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. What I'll say then is, during your lunch, whether you discuss anything about the expedition or not, entirely up to you. But you actually get a concierge come up to you and say, "Excuse me, you have a phone call from a Mr. Jackson?"
Oh, yes, thank you.
Is it
was-
for someone specifically or for all of us?
Well, it's for all of you, but he kind of implies there's only one phone, so
Could you direct me to the phones, please?
of course, sir. And he takes you to there's a phone next to the reception. You hear a lot of noise in the background, like kind of bit of like horse and carriage sort of trampling along, and sort of the general hustle and bustle of New York, presumably.
Jackson, Johan.
Oh,
hear me?
Johan, what a delight to hear your voice again, sir. How are you doing?
Yeah, well, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So, are you still okay to meet at tomorrow, 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock, sure. Just let us know where.
Yes. I'm staying at the Chelsea Hotel in Midtown. Although I got my hunches right with the Waldorf. But yeah, it's not too far from where you are, so
Yeah, good. We'll look forward to seeing you. We're all here.
brilliant. I'm very pleased. So all the Francoise, Winston, Arthur, they're all there as well?
Yes. Just enjoying a spot of lunch, catching up.
That's wonderful to hear.
Looking forward to your stories. What you've been up to?
Oh, yes, indeed. You can hear him trailing off a bit as if he's a little worried.
You okay there, Jackson? Didn't send your usual up self.
Yeah, the more you hear his voice, the more you realise he doesn't sound like his usual self at all. Yes, all fine, thank you. What I would say, when you get to the hotel, just double check behind you that nobody is following you in.
Very intriguing. Were we looking for anyone particular?
I I don't know, but keep your wits about you. And given the recent snowstorms as well, pay extra care.
Sure, we'll do.
And he almost quite abruptly puts the phone down.
Yeah, quite mysterious. So I'll go back to the table and say, it's Jackson's at the Chelsea Hotel in Midtown. Wants us to meet him there at 8 in the morning.
No, 8 at night, sorry.
8 at night,
o'clock.
sorry. He sounds a bit nervous, actually. He didn't sound his usual sort of bubbly, happy, chatty self.
He probably could not get breakfast at Tiffany's either.
Possibly. So, yes.
Cool.
I said we're all here. We're looking forward to seeing him.
I do worry that this business of the Carlisle expedition has perhaps he's unearthed some evidence that has unnerved.
You notice in the newspaper reports the tribesmen were blamed long before there was any evidence looked at. You look at the sequence of events.
I did notice that.
So I imagine something untoward is afoot.
Well, he seemed quite nervous. He didn't want us to be followed. He was very, very insistent that we make sure we're not followed to the hotel tomorrow.
Why? Who was following us?
He didn't say. He just said, check behind you, make sure no one's following you. So it's very mysterious.
Yeah. Looks like they blamed the wrong guys. That the right ones are after Elias.
It's entirely possible. Would it be perhaps practical if we split up? When we go to meet him, that perhaps we...
That is crazy. Then there are 4 ways to be followed. We just take a car.
And drive into the hotel.
No, you stop at the front and the doorman opens the door and you go in the steps.
That going separately is a stupid idea as long as everybody knows what to look for. And depending on how many of them there are. Because if it's a couple of them, they won't be following all of us. If there are more than 4, that's unnecessary.
Well, if we get the yellow cab, we could lose ourselves in the throng of yellow cabs on the street.
I wondered if you'd mentioned yellow cabs. They're technically not around just yet. There are taxis, but there's no official yellow cab regulation service thing. So it might be a bit less safe depending on who drives your car. You can still do it if you want, but just a disclaimer.
The thronging streets of bustling cars is well, they're nowhere near as thronging in this day and age.
I don't know. I believe that maybe splitting up it's a clever choice, maybe, but not knowing.
I think
I wouldn't recommend it.
my instinct is to split up, but at the same time, even if we do split up, if we have no idea who's following us and how many numbers, we may inadvertently lead them right to the door anyway by accident.
That's exactly the point. Also, I mean, I was in the military, so I know what means to be followed. I don't know if Mademoiselle Pelletier knows that. I know what to look for. Maybe she doesn't.
Given your
What's the
military,
point of leaving her alone to be followed freely?
Given your military background, is it
I
possible?
think you find that I can look over my shoulder as well as anyone. It is not difficult for a woman to do it. The breasts do not get in the way.
Amazing role playing right there. Thank you very much.
It won't be a complete bust then.
Bonus point for that.
Sorry?
Have a
what?
bonus.
Bonus die. Oh, now I've got one like everyone else.
Given your military background, sir, is it possible that you could perhaps, in a subtle manner, be lookout for us? See if you can perhaps see if we are being watched, or if this hotel is.
And how do I communicate that to you tomorrow? If we are followed tomorrow, I just come up to you and say, "You're followed, man."
No,
Why? It would be easy if we were all in the same car.
I'm rather hoping that you'll be able to spot them before we leave. And that way we'll be able to avoid them much better.
I'll take it the story is a pretty big hotel. It probably got more than one entrance because
Oh yeah, it's huge.
these hotels open up to streets and avenues, don't they? So they've probably got at
We can
least
also go out the servants entrance.
in that. They have different.
Goal would be renting a car, as Francoise said, doing a little bit of trips around the same blocks in order to see if some other cars are following us, and then choose a secondary entrance to get in the building to meet with Elias. That's what I would do.
Okay.
All the same, we must ask the question, is this crazy us going to meet him at all? I mean,
What?
is it not a little crazy for us to go meet him at all? I mean, it sounds like it is very dangerous. What is he getting us into? And will there be a temple of gold where we cannot take the gold? Is this our reward for our hard work and our risks we take?
Jason, the thing about the hotel that we're in.
Yeah.
One, clearly there'll be a back entrance to this hotel.
There's several. Yeah.
Yeah. Two, this is where I ask about, how modern things are come the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Does this have a fire alarm?
It will have. I mean, I don't know the top of my head, but given I sort of.
I believe
already
fire
mentioned
alarms
there was a fire
were
alarm in the previous
or
one.
out about in the 50s, 40s, 50s, even later than that.
There would be a way of raising an alarm. Yes.
I mean, the doors are not alarmed, if that's what you're asking. I don't believe
No,
that.
I was more thinking we could accidentally, unfortunately, not purposely, on purpose, trip the fire alarm and then make our escape out the back whilst the whole front of the hotel is being.
Yeah.
I
that's
don't
not
believe that's a
really-
possibility
No,
in the 20s.
There would be a way of raising the alarm with somebody or several members of staff. There might be a way they can, make a bell go off, but
It
there's not
had
like
been
a little box that says break glass, something.
it had been invented. In fact, the automatic fire alarm had already been invented. The question of whether it's installed and what the fire regulations were, because you guarantee a place like that would do the minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I honestly
Don't
couldn't
want to
say.
disturb the clientele and all that
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, you can definitely, if you want to sneak out one of the back entrances or, servants' kitchen sort of thing, that's perfectly feasible.
The oldest fire codes I can see on file for New York are 1951.
Ouch.
Yellow cabs were a thing, though.
Not
For-
quite. Not
for-
Yeah,
quite.
but they were.
But they weren't.
Researched it.
Yes, but according to the book, we'll just talk about them. They're not part of the regulated cab service.
Oh, maybe not, but there were plenty around.
Yeah,
Might
the
not
actual
have been
physical
regulated.
cabs were there, but not in terms of an actual regulated taxi
They were
service.
even yellow.
But it's strange that he assumes we're going to be followed. So he's assuming already people know we're here to see him and who we are.
Yeah.
So we might already been under surveillance somehow since we've got here. So.
Which is why I'm hoping that our esteemed military colleague here might be able to subtly look out a window and perhaps spot the people
Mate.
walking over the
Mate.
hotel.
Mate, I was a medic. I wasn't a sniper or a spy. I was a medic. So I know how military things work. I was not in the front on the front line.
You're the best one we've got.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Seriously, I am.
Well, I mean, I was on the front line of the Western Front. But I don't know if I was being followed or not.
Yeah, I can subtly look out a window and see if anyone's watching, but quite frankly, it might be a little old lady looking for tips.
Oh yeah, but what you
know.
do is you look out now, don't you? Look out an hour's time, and an hour's time after that, the same person's still there in the same place.
It is New York. There were always 2,000 people behind you.
Also, I don't believe that's actually any useful to see if we are watched over right now, as the thing is they don't need to be follow us tomorrow. And I don't believe I will be able to remember any face I see today for tomorrow. Given how many people is here. Not in the hotel, but in the area at the very least.
So tomorrow I will be getting into a private hire car.
We all will.
You are more than welcome to join me. We can look out the back of the car whilst it drives.
Yes, thank you. I'll be.
I actually can't drive though. Off game, I can't drive. I got the base 20, so I really hope somebody has.
I have driven, and I know how to drive, and I'm quite good at it, of course. Again, the breasts do not get in the way.
Okay, cool. Are you all planning to go out a back entrance when the time comes?
Yeah, seems about right.
Yeah.
It's really as good as any other.
Yeah. I think if Jackson is right and he's sort of paranoid at the possibility of us being followed, I think sort of striding out the front door is going to be foolish.
And if he thinks there's this much possibility of danger, is it worth taking firearms?
I'm taking it.
Because obviously he's worried about being followed, which is quite concerning. I mean, why should people be following us? We just turned up in New York.
I will place that question in context. I don't know how many firearms you're going to be bringing, but I will certainly be bringing at least one.
Fair enough.
I've got one.
I only have one, but I'm going with that.
I'm taking my one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the reality is if he's not paranoid, then I think literally, and I don't mean this as a pun, forewarned is forearmed. I think we have to be ready for this.
Okay. So it gets to the 15th of January, the Thursday. And as you kind of settle in a bit more, you hear a bit more about the snowstorm that happened a few days ago, which has caused quite a lot of disruption. It happened on the Monday. Basically, Loads of sort of temporary workers have had to come out and shovel all the sidewalks, all the roads. They're doing a good job, but there's a lot to do. And there's potential warning of more snowstorms to happen. For those of you in character who've been to New York before, this is not particularly abnormal. There are plenty of snowstorms in January. It's sort of the most, miserable wintry time of the year in New York. But this year it is still particularly bad. Like, it was a particularly bad snowstorm. But when it gets to 8 o'clock, it is of course dark by this point. You see there's sort of a waning gibbous going on, so it's still quite a bit of moonlight. It's fairly clear, but you head out. You can see it is quite treacherous on the road still, but you get in your privately hired car after you sneak out the back, and you head over to the Hotel Chelsea, which is on. Where is it? I just had it. This is the only problem with this book, in that when you want to find a detail, you can never find it. Here we go. West 23rd Street between 7th and 8th Avenues. I will be making reference to a few avenues and whatever, so just to remind you if you don't know, avenues go up and down Manhattan and streets go across. But it's not too far. It's a few blocks away. And as you're
we
traveling,
followed?
I was just about to say, as you're traveling there,
sorry.
and also when you get out of the car, you look behind you. You keep an eye out. You don't see any car following you, and you don't see any pedestrians that are kind of out of place or anyone trying to keep up with the car or anything like
I
that.
also want to look at the top of buildings of people looking down on us.
Okay, that's fine. It's a bit difficult given it's dark, and in terms of then compared to now, there's not kind of the aerial lighting that you get on buildings and stuff. But you have a good eye up, and you can't see anybody on top of any roofs or anything, standing out of place or anything.
So, unless they rented rooms all along the route, we are good.
Indeed. It's quite a nice hotel, this place. It seems a bit more diverse than the Waldorf. The Waldorf is quite sort of sounds about white type thing. Whereas here, there's no looking up and down that you normally get with white people, Winston. But when you go to the reception, presumably you ask about Jackson at reception.
Yes.
Okay. So the receptionist says yes. He came back about half an hour ago, actually. He's in room 410.
Could you possibly call up to him and explain to him that his dining guests have arrived?
Yes, of course, sir.
Thank you.
So she gets the phone, rings up, and she sort of says in quite a bright voice, even though it's 8 o'clock at night, yes, your guests are here, sir. And you actually hear the sound of the phone just hanging up as soon as she says that.
I'm sorry, you said 410?
410, yes.
The same one from the flashback we had before the prologue?
Yes, correct.
Good thing
Although in
I-
character, you obviously don't know this.
No,
Of course, I was just having
Just having a
notes
moment.
laying around.
I wondered if anyone would spot that.
I can't remember what happened in the flashback, but
Not
I'll
much,
flash
to be
forward.
fair. Not much. But she looks a bit shocked at that, but she puts the phone down and directs you sort of which floor. So because it's a bit different, like in America they have first floor, second floor rather than ground floor. So if I say ground floor, apologies, but it's on the fifth
The third floor.
or the yeah. The fourth floor, no. Room 410.
Well, the way he put the phone down, I would assume he's on his way down to see us.
Or it could be he thinks we are the people who are following him. Maybe one of us should go up to see him and the rest of us will stay down here in order to screw up the prologue.
You can if you want.
I'm going up.
I will go up to the hotel room.
And we'll stay down here in case we miss him. In case you miss him en route. There might be more
Johan?
than one step.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll stay with Francoise.
You'll stay with Francoise. Okay, so 2 and 2. Okay. So Arthur and Winston, you head up. And you get to room 410. Do you knock? Do you go straight in? What do you
Knock on the door.
You knock on the door.
I'd like to look at the door before knocking to see if it's opened. Is it
Oh, you
closed?
mean like ajar or something like
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
Okay. Make me a spot hidden.
Yes. On my brand new 47. That's a 37 that I make, so I pass.
It is ajar.
All right, so I'm able to see something inside of it, or do I have to swing that a little bit more open?
You'd need to open it further, but what I'll say is because you're knocking, Winston, you open it slightly anyway from the fact you're knocking.
And yes, you beat me. You beat me to saying that. I was waiting for it. I was
So
waiting for a moment to put that in.
It opens up about this much, and you don't hear a voice or anything, but you do hear a very kind of choked, breathy
I pulled my
sound.
gun.
And then you start to hear multiple pairs of feet moving in the room.
I cock my gun.
I do the same.
Okay?
And I enter.
You enter. Okay. So, do you sort of, just for the sake of flavour, do you open the door slowly? Do you burst it open?
I've heard someone choking and feet. I'm
Kick that bitch right in.
kicking in
Do
and
it. Do it.
That bloody door! Okay. So, you burst the door open. What you see, there are 3 men, not Jackson at all, 2 dark-skinned, 2 black men, 1 white man, who are brandishing long knives, kind of like machetes, but not quite the same, and they're wearing these sort of weird red strips around their head, and they look at you startled and start making a break for it. There's like a fire escape, like an open fire escape outside the room. You can't see Jackson until one of them moves out of the way, and you realise he's actually splayed on the bed, and he appears to be dead. And we'll take a short break.
No.
Doctor, would you like to confirm?
All right. See you in a sec.
Oh, my bladder. Oh, my God.
Oh, kitty, okay.
Meow, meow, meow.
It's making this house freezing. I've had to get a hoodie.
I mean, we could swap places because it's boiling up here, but there's all my
Let's do it.
stuff. No. There's all my stuff. Like my notes.
I'm gonna get a blankie.
Oh, okay. Wow. It's that cold. I mean, my feet are a bit cold, but apart from that... Oh. And now Phil has lost his glasses as well as his beard. Okay.
Yes. Poor Stephen has lost 12 points of sanity.
Oh dear.
Why am I always the last one? I'm sorry.
It's only been like 4
We all
minutes.
just got back at the same time.
Wow, Becky, really? The jars.
Yes.
Maybe there'll be lots of jars in this room.
Explain that one for Steve. This was a joke I got in before Ronnie was able to. But why do people check that doors are ajar? They're not ajar, they're a door.
Yeah, I was trying to find a way to work it in the conversation when you put it up in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
no,
thought I'd kill that one before it made its way into the roleplay somehow.
Stephen has lost 12 points of sanity. For the remainder of the viewers watching live or who may watch in repeat, yes, microphones are an optional thing sometimes. We sometimes don't turn them off.
What? It wasn't me, was it?
No, it was Becky.
No, I
Okay.
left it on briefly, but I mean,
Yeah.
I switched it off. Then I went to the loo. I don't know if you could hear Jason.
I held that in for so long.
It's entirely possible it was broadcast. Depends how loud you
Well,
were. I mean, I am downstairs, the loo's upstairs, but we don't normally shut the door in our own home, so, you know,
no.
unless
I
we've got
mean,
visitors round.
given the fact you broadcast going to the loo a few years ago, then that means that now both of us have done that, so.
Well, in fairness, you didn't bring the microphone in with you to the toilet.
True. That was nice and personal.
That was.
Just to explain for anyone who's wondering why the hell I took a microphone into the toilet, I had a Bluetooth headset and it had a mute button on the side, but you can't see it when it's on your ear. So I pressed mute, or thought I did, and went to the loo.
And the rest of us were too embarrassed to say, Becky, turn
They
the
just
mic
sat
off."
there and listened.
It was. I didn't know what to say, and I didn't know you that well back then, okay?
Well, you certainly knew how I peed afterwards.
I think Steve sums it up with his comments. Lol, yeah, caught that. No, you didn't. And that my high listen skill.
Well,
So I don't know. I was away to the bathroom myself, so I don't know what he heard. But
brilliant.
as was explained at the start, this broadcast may include material not suitable for younger children.
Again, the campaign does that already. Okay, so.
Fuck, titty wank.
Thank you, babe.
Sorry, it's my standard post-disclaimer statement.
Okay, so back to
Yes, serious face.
Yeah.
the shit hitting the fan.
Yeah.
So, these three have started legging it out towards a fire escape.
Yes,
What's the two of you do?
I would like to shoot one of them, please.
Okay, I will let you do that once since you've sort of got the element of surprise. Oh, I've just realised I haven't got the stats open. Give me a moment.
I'd like to say I can't shoot worth a shit, but
Where even are they? Oh, it's there, okay.
All I can say is if there was a barn door in the room, I've missed that as well.
Okay. Did you get over 95?
No, it wasn't a crit. I didn't actually fail it by that much, but I don't want to. I don't want to waste luck points on it.
Okay.
To be honest,
Give me a second. Let me just find
I think
Statty Watties.
I think if they were coming at us, it would be a different thing. But if they're running away, I'm not going to waste luck points.
Oh, of course, they're near the end. Okay. Scrolly. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So. Oh, okay. They did really well anyway with their dodge. So yeah, absolutely no, you missed them. They're already kind of ducking down. One of them has started to actually head out into the fire escape. Arthur, do you do anything?
Yeah, I'll try
do you try
to
to take a
shoot
shot?
as well,
Yep.
if I
Okay.
may.
Yeah, of course you can. Oh wow, I'm rolling really, really well.
More than an extreme success, though, because I just did an extreme success.
No.
I got 6 out of 48.
Okay. Cool. Roll your damage.
The only die I don't have out is the d8. So just give me a little bit, alright? That's a 5.
Okay. Right, so technically it is an initiative mode, if we go with that, but are you intending to actually try and chase after them, or are you planning to do something else?
I'm planning, to slow one of them down enough in order to catch him and question him.
Okay, so technically yes, chasing.
Yeah.
Okay. Winston, are you doing something similar?
No, I'm going to check on Jackson. I know you said that he looked dead, but we didn't actually go over to confirm.
Sure. Okay. What I'll do, I will, because I've never done this before, but I'm going to anyway because I want to do as many rules as possible. I'm going to establish a chase scene. Since Arthur is doing that. So, what I'll do
No,
since
we
Winston
need
is...
dead bodies already.
Huh.
We're,
Since...
our sanity's ready for dead bodies.
Yes. So, since Winston's, making a beeline for Jackson, I'll leave you out. But what I'd like you to do, Arthur, is can you make me a con roll, please?
I can and I will. Con, alright. Did you say Constitution? I
Yes,
heard that
Constitution,
right. Alright. I failed so bad.
You fail. Okay. Can you tick the -1 movement skill? There's 2 little boxes next to your
Yeah.
movement box. Can you tick the minus, please?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And I'll roll for the other 3. So... Con. So... So that is... Plus... also a pass. They pass.
Ah.
Okay. Okay, so actually, because they've all passed and you failed, they are already way out of there. So there isn't actually an official chase that is established. They basically go out of the fire escape. You can sort of hear the clanging as they're rushing down there. If you want, you could maybe get out to the top of the fire escape and try and shoot down, but you won't be able to catch them up because they're already too far out.
That's what I do. At least maybe I will slow them, at least one of them.
Yeah, I mean, you've already shot one of them.
If I'm lucky enough, I get the same one. Probably won't kill him.
Yeah, go ahead. Make your roll. So yeah, there's already one. Whilst he's still out,
No,
he's kind of leaving
I
a bit of
miss.
a blood trail. You
Miss.
Okay.
Completely.
Okay. So there's basically a little bit of a blood trail, and it picks up on, there's like a bit of ice as well at the top of the fire escape, where it kind of, you can see it. But yeah, they're already nearly halfway down. You can see a car waiting at the bottom as well that you assume they're going to get into. Winston is over by Jackson, which I will turn to for a moment. So, Mr. Elias is in pretty bad shape. When you see him, yes, you confirm he has unfortunately passed. he essentially has had his chest cut open, and his sort of organs are actually pulled out a bit and hanging out. And just from looking at that, you're going to need to make me a sound roll, please.
No,
Yeah.
I'm the big tough guy.
What's so weird is that's not actually mentioned in the book. Why?
Oh,
Is it a
I
fail?
rolled 1.
Oh, you rolled 1, so you're fine. You're absolutely fine.
I
It's
rolled 0, 0, 1.
it's as if you literally saw a replicate body the day before. Okay, it makes you feel queasy, but you keep your cool. Maybe it'll hit you later. You don't know.
I offer a prayer.
That's
for
fine.
my
No problem.
poor departed friend.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a mess. There's blood on the sheets. When you complete your prayer, you notice he's also got this symbol that's been carved into his head with a blade of some sort. And I will show you what that looks like, but you'll probably know what it is anyway. Where are we?
Is it the same as that kind of tattoo marking? What's his name had?
Hmm.
Hold on a moment. It looks like this.
Yeah.
Yes, a Larkin one, isn't it?
I take it I recognize it immediately.
Yes, you do.
I make a mental note of it. I am going to look through the sort of drawers. He's bound to have kept
Yeah.
notes, booklets,
Sure.
journals, something.
Yeah, it's fine. So you have a look. To be honest, there's a lot of stuff now that you see a bit more of what's in the room. There's a lot of stuff strewn around the room already. Although you do find some stuff in the drawers as well. So what I'll say is, Arthur, you're kind of coming back into the room, presumably by this point, because you've realised that you've
there's
lost
no
them.
point in following the fellas out.
Okay. So, more handouts incoming. But let me put the Jackson's forehead shot in there as well. Hold on a second. This is me coordinating a million screens. Where is it? Okay, so there's the forehead cutting in case you need it. So you find a mixture of stuff. Some of it is papers, other stuff is random things, but it might prove useful. Whether you choose to take them as a different story, obviously tell me if you don't. I'm assuming you'll have a
literally,
look at least.
if it looks even remotely of interest, it's
Okay.
getting taken.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, this stuff, at least to one of you, is remotely of interest, so yeah. Okay. So...
I'll let we can sort of siphon off and kind of sift through and find sort of pertinent things, but I'd rather grab it all than miss something. So.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you start gathering stuff up, you hear the sound of a policeman's whistle outside, or a cop's whistle.
It's only going to be a matter of time before they come in here. Yeah, grab what I can.
Okay, that's fine. What I'll do is I'll show them anyway, and I'll read them out, but you won't have time to fully look through them before the police arrive, let's say. So
No problem.
I'll quickly go through them. So the first one is a business card of the Penhew Foundation. Give it a second, there we go. Which has an address in Tottenham Court Road in London. the director of which is Edward Gavigan. And again, I'll put these in the drive. Next one is a handwritten letter addressed to Mr. Carlyle from Cairo, March 1919. It says, "Dear Mr. Carlyle, your lawyer informed me that you seek certain knowledge of this land and its distant past, and I believe I can aid you in this regard. Inquiries in the Old Quarter have identified one Faraz Nijar in the Street of Jackals, who claims to be in possession of singular curios, which he believes will be of great interest to you. He is prepared to part with these items of a suitable price, if a suitable price can be agreed upon, and I shall endeavour to make sure that matters are arranged to your satisfaction. Yours, Mr. Warren Bessart." Again, there's a few handouts, so bear with me.
Yeah, so I'm
That first business card was the name of the Egyptologist on the
It
expedition.
was, yes. The third handout, shall we say, the third thing you find is a blurry photograph. Okay, there we go. Basically, it's a few boats in port somewhere. You're not sure where. You notice on the long boat there's a name partially obscured by a sail. You can see the letters DAR. But the rest of it is obscured.
Alexandria.
yeah.
Yeah, the one on the right looks like an Asian boat.
Yeah, they
Because
do.
of the,
Like junks,
I don't know how do you call them in English. The
Junks.
the white sheets, junks.
Yeah, like a junker, I think. The next thing you find is a matchbox, which back then had lots of addresses on stuff, for the
Yeah.
Stumbling Tiger Bar in Shanghai.
Ah.
Next is a typewritten letter to Jackson from Harvard University up in Massachusetts, which says, "Mr. Jackson Elias, CO Prospero House Publishers, Lexington Avenue, New York City. Dear Mr. Elias, the book about which you inquired is no longer in our collection. The information you seek may be found here in other volumes. If you will contact me upon arrival, I will be most happy to further assist you. As always, Miriam Arkwright, Harvard University Library." And that's dated November the 7th, 1924. So, last November.
Okay. That's a good line of inquiry right there. If for no other reason than it's one that's actually here in New York.
The next one is another business card. It's a business card for here in New York. Expert's a bit slow to push live tonight. There we go. For Emerson Imports, 648 West 47th Street, New York. On the back, in Jackson's handwriting, is a name, Silas Nquain.
Nquain.
So that's two images, just so you know, but I'll put them both in the drive, of course. And then finally, you pick up some sort of leaflet, which says, "Tonight only, the Cult of Darkness in Polynesia and the Southwest Pacific. A 2-hour lecture with slides delivered by Professor Anthony Cowles, PhD, of the University of Sydney, Australia. and presently Locksley Fellow of Polynesian Esoterica at Miskatonic University, Arkham. Shulia Hall, New York University, 8 p.m. tonight only.
That's now, isn't it?
Tonight, but that's not a date.
You're not sure if it's today specifically, but yeah, there's no date that confirms when it is or when it was.
Also, we will be late,
Indeed.
if on time, on the right date at the very least.
Was there a location for that event?
Yes.
There was, yeah.
Shulia Hall, New York University.
How far from here is that?
It's outside of Manhattan, but it's still in New York.
Okay,
Which
no worries,
you
because
would
by the time I find this information out, it'll be way too late.
Indeed. And speaking of which, so the two of you, Francoise and Johan, you're downstairs. You're still waiting.
Did you hear that? I think the barman has returned from his break.
There is indeed a nice bar and restaurant if you want to do anything in there, but the point is the other two or Jackson haven't arrived, and it's been like 20-30 minutes.
Well, perhaps Jackson's just getting ready and they're waiting for him, but we could pop up and see.
I would say after 10 would likely go up.
Yeah.
Okay. Before 10, you hear...
I don't mean 10 p.m., I mean 10 minutes.
Oh! I was going to say, let's wait 2 hours. Okay, fine. That's fine.
Good cocktail, that's what it is.
As you start going up, you hear from outside the front door, you hear the sound of, again, police officers, whistles and so on, nearby.
That's
Just gonna have a look, make sure that's not people following us.
Good
Okay.
point. Good point.
I say with an over-exaggerated gesture
Oh, I
of
see. Okay,
ridiculousness,
so you're not-
but I do have a look.
You do, okay. You have a look. No sign of any people following you or lingering or anything, but you do hear the sound of shouting and more whistles. Sounds like cops are in the area attempting to chase after something.
Oh, I'll see if I can get a photo. I could be worth some money.
Okay. How far away do you go?
What, from the
From
hotel?
the front door, yeah.
Well, if I need to get closer for a good photograph, depends what's out there and how far away all the commotion is. But if I need to move to get a good shot, I will.
Okay. It's freezing cold out here and it's slippery, but you basically you go round to one of the sort of side streets, and yeah, you see that there are some cops. They're trying to radio in, you think, to a station nearby. It sounds like they're getting reinforcements. Something's obviously happened. There's a few kind of beat cops that are kind of trying to spread out and search. One of them actually sees you taking pictures and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, can you move along, please? This is a crime scene."
Oh, what's the crime?
Yeah, they don't answer you. They get a bit closer. They insist that you move along.
What do I see, though, in terms of the crime? I mean, they're searching, but for what?
You don't see anything immediately in the streets. There's no bodies or anything of that nature. There's no criminal activity happening outside, but they're obviously trying to search for something. Can you give me a spot hidden roll?
Sure. No.
No. It's dark. You think they may be panning out. Perhaps whatever's happened has escaped or moved on or something. You're not sure.
Okay, well, I wander back inside then.
Yes, well, they haven't come down yet. We better go up.
Oui. 410, I believe.
Okay, so you head on
For
up to
some
room
crazy reason in
410.
America, this is the third floor.
Indeed. But yes, you get up there and you basically see a slightly shaky Winston gathering up a load of random papers. Arthur, I'm assuming by this point you've also seen Jackson's body.
Yes.
What the hell did you do to him and why?
So can the rest of you please make me sand rolls?
Oh,
I've seen Jackson's body.
Me too.
Yes, please.
I patched up militaries during the war.
You did, yes, but I still like a sand roll.
I passed.
I passed.
Boring. I failed. What the
Because
frick?
bear in mind, you're not on the job anymore. This is somebody you knew.
Nah.
Okay. Okay. So you lose 3 sanity. It does shake you. The more you look at him, it's the way in which he has been killed. It's not simply a stab wound or a shot wound. It's literally he's been cut open. Organs have been pulled out, and that's very disturbing to you. And for the two of you who've just come in, you can see as well that there's an open door out to a fire escape, so there's sort of cold air coming in. And you can see a little bit of blood, just a scatter of it, almost kind of a trail heading out. And you can hear shouting downstairs.
What do you
Oh,
do?
this is over the police then.
Yeah, from the fire escape, like down the fire escape, you can hear the sound of what you were hearing before, Francoise.
So, why have you opened the door? Is it to cool the body, make it look like he was killed earlier?
We when we came here, there were 3 individuals, obviously the ones who had killed him. We drew our weapons. They ran for it. Arthur gave chase. I foolishly, given the way given how mutilated the body is, I held out some hope that he was still alive, even if barely. But unfortunately, he was quite deceased.
But there are police searching the street outside, so there is no hope a detective in New York would be able to solve anything he was working on, so we should gather up any evidence we can to analyze it ourselves.
Gathering.
Totally agree.
Quickly before the police arrive.
Yeah.
I search his pockets.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. You don't really find anything else of significance either on him, or he's got like a little briefcase, there's some drawers. Basically everything I've already listed is the significant stuff that you found.
Okay.
And it's easy to pocket or fold up and, put on your person. That's not a problem at all.
I suggest we close the door and say to reception that we could not get in. Could you try phoning him again? We'll pretend we haven't got hold of him.
We should get out of the building from another exit, not to go straight through the hall. Instead of lying to people, we should just vanish.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we will make ourselves suspects.
I believe that's the safest way to go.
But then we will become suspects.
I think
They remember us.
At the moment they find him dead, and
Also, we didn't give them our generalities.
In fact, we were asking for him that they're going to be suspects anyway.
Yeah.
Johan and I were in the bar for 10 minutes.
Very true.
I'm going to go back downstairs. You may go any way you please.
I'm going.
Do we close the door at least?
I suggest that is what I'm going to do, is to close the door so it is shut and say I could not get in. Could you call them again?
All right.
Okay. As you you pick up the phone and start doing the swirly thing.
I'm going to reception.
You're going to reception. So, Francois, you go out the door. You hear the sound of footsteps coming up the stairs quite rapidly. And as you get to the top of the stairs, you see 2 cops.
Okay, well, I'm just going to walk past them and think nothing of it.
Ma'am, would you mind just staying here? There's a crime scene on this floor, if you wouldn't mind.
Crime scene?
Yes, someone's been murdered on this floor. We need. Would you mind returning to your room for now?
I am a visitor, but I could not get to my friend, so I was going to reception to ask him to ring again and get an answer.
Which room?
Room 410.
Okay. They basically usher you back to that room and realize it is that room specifically.
Where is everyone else as we arrive back?
Arthur, presumably you're trying to make the call.
Yes.
Because it's a matter of like less than a minute. Winston and Johan, do you stay in the room or do you plan to do anything else?
No, I was heading to the elevator.
Yeah, who? I don't know who we were calling. Sorry.
Neither do I don't understand that at all.
I thought you wanted Arthur to call reception.
No, it was to go down to reception and get them to call the room again because we couldn't get in.
Yes.
It was an alibi.
Sorry, that makes more sense.
Remind me never to murder someone with you.
That makes more sense. Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Wow.
I'm really worried. You know, sentence should really stop. Remind me never to murder anyone.
Hey, there's a lot of information in my brain right now, so bear with me.
That's all right. That's all right.
So,
Okay,
did
in
we
that
all
case-
leave the room with me?
Yes, I mean once
Yeah, so-
back to reception, it made it pointless doing anything else really because
Yeah. In that case, yeah. So I'll say that happened, but with everybody else there. So you see the cops. You're all ushered back to 410. They realise it's a crime scene.
yeah, the door will be shut at that point though. They'll have to break
Yeah,
in.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be shut. But they know that is the room where
How
somebody's
did
been
you
murdered.
know this is a crime scene? I'm confused.
Because a witness saw somebody coming down the fire escape from this very room, ma'am.
That is a crime?
Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind with the rest of you, please go to the bar.
Certainly, you have to ask me twice.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need you to stay there for now. Understand that anybody on this floor could be a potential suspect. There'll be a detective coming round in about an hour or so. He will
We will do.
probably want to take statements. Did any of you see what was in the room?
The door was closed.
Yeah,
We couldn't get in.
there's a
You
French.
saying my friend? You saying our friend is dead?
Well, and you see one of them's already gone in.
Is it Jackson? Don't say that to me that Jackson is dead.
There is a Negro in there, which we need to see to that. And one of the police officers kind of pushes, not physically, but kind of ushers you away from the door, as if yes,
Is my
obviously
friend
something.
alive? I sort of protest and play the distressed maiden as I'm pushed away, asking questions about whether my friend is alive or not.
Ma'am, it's best if you move away from the door. If you wouldn't mind heading down to the bar, we can
Is he
we
okay?
can get the detective to talk to you in a little while. Okay?
My friend here is
Yeah, he's a medic. He can help. He can help.
I can help.
really harmed.
Of course, I can.
To
So you say that you know the person in this room?
If it is Jackson, then yes.
We could identify. I'd be willing to identify him to see if it is him for you, and give you an
But you're talking about identifying. How do we know it? How do we know? Oh my God! No, it could not be Jackson.
We okay, so they let Johan come in, given he's a man and therefore he can take it more. So he goes in. Yes, obviously it is Jackson. You've already seen it is Jackson.
Yes, that is Jackson.
And how do you know this man?
We met him on an expedition in Peru several years ago.
Right. Yes, if you could wait, all of you wait downstairs. This is now an official crime scene. Do not touch anything. Feel free to obviously have drinks, etc., but you will all need to have statements taken by the detective, all right?
All right.
not a problem.
if you leave the premises, like one of them turns to you question, if you leave the premises, we will know. So please don't try anything.
Of course. Come, we must toast our departed friend.
With soft drinks given prohibition.
Oh, yeah.
How disappointing.
I do not like America.
Yeah, me neither.
By me, I don't judge alcohol anyway.
No.
While we try to drink water or anything unalcoholic, I'd just say my partners that we should agree on a shared version of the facts. So we came here to meet with Jackson. We called in his room. We went upstairs. The door was closed, and that was it.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
We knocked several times, thinking maybe he was asleep. And then all of a sudden, there's police.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. We didn't hear gunshots.
You didn't hear nothing.
We don't hear nothing.
You don't hear nothing. Okay. So about 45 minutes later, so you do a toast to Jackson, you decide on your tale, tell the cops, and that you know nothing.
At one point before the police got out, I wished to visit the bathroom.
Yeah, you can do that.
Put an extra bullet in your gun.
Although it would be a water closet
Back in
rather than
my
a bathroom.
So the clip's full. I'm putting the clip back, putting the bullet back in the gun, because if they do check my gun, I want them to show I've got a full clip, i.e., I haven't fired.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to wash my hands quite thoroughly as well,
Okay. Fine.
because they're going to be quite hot. So I just.
Okay. And then presumably you return to the other three, right? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you sit back down. A little bit while later, you see a couple more cops come into the bar area, along with a man you presume to be the detective. He kind of makes a beeline towards your table after you're pointed out. He's a man. You think maybe in his 40s. He's let himself go a bit. He's looking a bit portly. Moustache, quite a stern, cynical look about him. But he wastes no time in presenting his badge. Lieutenant Poole. Boys tell me that you're the fellows who were upstairs.
Yes,
When
that
this
is.
kicked off.
Well,
Yes. Trying to visit our friend, yes.
Right. I would like you all to come to the station if you don't mind, just to give some statements. This is not really a place to do it with everybody else here, you understand?
I suppose.
Just simple statements. You're not under arrest. Not yet, anyway.
Really?
Certainly we'll help you in any way we can. Obviously,
Anything we can do to help you find whoever killed our friend, we're more than happy to assist.
Fantastic. You can make me psychology rolls if you want.
I do.
I do not pass.
I do not pass either.
In fact,
I do. Regular success.
I rolled 98. Is that a critical fail?
What is your skill? Like, your number of your skill?
60.
Then no, it's not a critical. Just. Winston?
No, nowhere near.
So just Arthur passed.
Yeah, a 37 out of 40.
Lovely. Yeah, he definitely looks cynical. He's obviously been in the police force a while, but also you think that he's looking a bit tired and annoyed at something that happened recently. Like he's kind of squinting his eyes a bit with tension, but you're not sure what. But
I'll try to question him about uh, about the fact that Elias told us that he was afraid of being followed if he put a complaint through the police station, through the police department.
right, okay. Let's talk about that away from the hotel's clientele, if you don't mind.
Where you wish.
Right. In my inner sanctum, that would be lovely. So you're taken in a car over to the 7th or 7A precinct in Chelsea, where there's a station there. For those of you who don't know, there are different precincts in New York, and he gets you in. It's quite busy in here at the minute. Lots of noise, smoke, coffee as well, of course. But he gets you in a private room and offers you all seats. He's quite stern, but he's polite. You know, he's civil about things. And he starts getting out a couple of papers as well, and starts writing up, and he takes your names and various other sort of personal details and things. And says, right, okay, so you knew this man, and you said his name was Jackson.
Indeed.
Jackson Elias, that's right.
Yes.
Elias, right. Did he have an address?
I don't.
No.
I
I-
usually contact him through his publisher these days because he travelled a lot.
Right. Do you know the name of his publisher?
Yes, and I give it.
Okay, yeah, so he makes a note of that. A lot of the time his head's kind of down as he's writing stuff, but he's still sort of asking questions. Right. Now getting
John
to...
Kensington. Alright.
Say that again, sorry, Arthur.
No, I was checking my notes to see if I wrote down the name. Was it John Kensington?
That's right, yeah. That's his
Yeah.
publisher. Right. Okay. And he kind of puts his pen down for a moment, puts his hands together and says, now, this is going to be quite a shock. And I'm very sorry to tell you this, but your friend is dead. He was murdered.
Oh my god.
I am aware of that. I saw the body. It wasn't suicide.
Yes, you were the one who helped verify his identity, right?
Yes, we're very concerned. He's a great friend of ours. I mean, we went on an expedition, spent a lot of time in each other's company, and obviously very concerned for him.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. An expedition to Peru. So, have you known each other long before then, or did you meet at the time in Peru?
We met in Peru. He was there actually researching one of his books. So we were.
Oh, he writes? Or, sorry, wrote?
Yes, he did.
Uh-huh.
Several
His
published
publisher
works.
was not just for show, you know.
Well, no, I realise that, man. He sort of takes a slurp of rather icky coffee. You see him then kind of go into a drawer and reach out a load of other papers. He kind of slams it back shut. And he starts looking through other papers. And after a couple of moments of kind of awkward silence, he puts them down and says, right, so in terms of what happened at the scene, so you say that you were going to visit him in his room.
Well, he had contacted us some 12 days before.
And yesterday, a phone call to us at the Waldorf to say where we should meet, and yes, a telegram beforehand to come to New York.
As Francoise says, we received a call last night. He wanted us to come and visit him at his hotel. He did seem, Johan was the one who took the call. You said he seemed somewhat agitated.
Yeah, he didn't seem his usual self. No, certainly not.
We arrived, myself and Mr. Dibden. We proceeded upstairs. We went to the reception, and the receptionist called up to Jackson to let him know that we had arrived. The phone went down almost immediately, which was a little concerning. But we were unsure if he had put it down and was on his way to meet us, or if we were going up there. So myself and Mr. Dibden went up to his room, whilst Francois and Johan remained downstairs in case we had missed him in passing. We went to his door. We knocked on it several times. We received no answer. We were about to go downstairs and ask the receptionist to phone up again, but then as we were heading downstairs, we met a police officer on the stairs who instructed us to return to the bar. But before doing so, Johan here identified that it was indeed our friend.
Do you think that this Mr. Elias had any animosity towards any of you before his death?
No. On the contrary, he was looking forward to.
Couldn't read how grateful he was for our companionship in his own book.
Oh. I might need to buy
He was
a copy
looking
of
forward
this
to
book.
seeing us. He was.
Yeah, he asked for us to be here.
Yeah.
Do you know of anyone who would have a motive to kill him? Especially in... He was murdered in quite a horrible, brutal way.
I don't know. Whilst it is true we are friends, with his many travels, our communications had been somewhat brief and intermittent in these last couple of years. In fact, his telegram asking to meet us in New York had come somewhat out of the blue.
May I see the telegram?
Who has the telegram?
I don't have it with me.
I did not bring it with me. It is just a few words, you know.
Do you remember what the words were?
Basically, something he's working on his new book. Would like to see you in New York on the 15th.
Yeah,
Effectively,
nothing more than that.
Can you make me persuade roll with that, Johan?
A persuade roll. Where's persuade?
Or a fast talk, either of which is fine.
Yes, I made that by 11. No success.
Okay, no success. Okay. Right, okay. I need to sort of write some more notes down. He asked you a few more questions, like if each of you had a role during this expedition, a bit more about what it was about, things like that. But afterwards, he takes some more coffee and says, well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it's quite late now, and I'm sure that you're quite tired. I may need to approach you later for more questions, given what happens with this case. But for now, I have no more questions, so I appreciate your time with me today.
Not a problem. Happy to
So
help.
we're not allowed to leave town for how much?
Well, given that you've come from far and wide, I assume that you would be staying here for a while. But no, I would. Let's give it a week.
All right.
And if there's any developments, you'll let us know at the Astoria.
Yes, please. We would very much like to know if you've apprehended anyone.
Oh well. Yes, I mean if we do, this
I-
might make the news.
I know
but,
that as we are not family, you're under no obligation. But given that
no, that's correct.
given that he is a personal friend, I would hope that you would perhaps tell us if you have if you've actually apprehended anyone for this gruesome crime.
Sure, I can do that. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. It would be a
I might not be able to disclose any names, but I could
no.
certainly inform you of any
It
apprehension.
would. This terrible business has us somewhat numbed. It would bring us some comfort to know that justice will be served.
Very well.
Thank you.
I bid you all a good night. Drive safely.
And you a good night, sir.
Yeah, let's head back to the hotel. That's what I say.
All right. So it's about 10:30 now in the evening. Apart from obviously sort of any discussion you want, is there anything that you want to do before the night draws into a close completely?
I'm going to.
I wouldn't say so.
Well, when we get back to the hotel, I will present the various things that I found in Jackson's room for everyone to have a look at. Not so much to comment just now, but more have a look at things, sleep on it, and we can discuss possibilities in the morning over breakfast.
But there is one lead that is in New York. I know nothing about the lead, though. It was a business card with a name on the back here.
The importers.
Yes, I
Emerson
can't think of.
Emerson Imports.
Yes, I have not seen this name occur anywhere else.
No, you've not heard of it before.
Also, I believe it will be worth it, maybe tomorrow, to call Harvard University.
Yes.
Maybe they could tell us what Jackson was after.
Yes, that might take some planning in order to get the right answer.
We have two leads here in New York. I suppose three if we count this Cult of Darkness lecture. I suppose it might be worth finding out if Cowles is still in the country.
Well, we do have another one. We do have his publisher as well. Might be worth dropping in on him and asking if he knew what he was working on.
Yes.
The professor behind the Cult of Darkness was an Australian man, but perhaps he is still in New York somewhere. We could ring around the hotels.
Yes. The Shiler Hall might have a contact. They might know where he was at least where he was staying when he was delivering the lecture. It would at least give us a starting point.
Yes, we should do that one first thing in the morning, I think, before he leaves. Unless he is already long gone.
Well, unfortunately, there's no date given. It only says tonight at 8 o'clock. There's
I
no.
guarantee it was not tonight. He would not have asked us to come tonight.
Although it does say that he's a fellow at Miskatonic University, which is in Arkham, Massachusetts. So that could be.
We shouldn't live down though for at least a week.
No, but it might be worth, if we don't find the professor here, it might be worth a telegram or a call to
Yeah,
the
for call.
perhaps talk to him.
Basically, what I would do is calling both universities. We could hatch a plan having 2 academics with us, and then visit the imports, the Amazon imports, and asking around about Silas and Kang and Wane,
Yeah.
assuming that's how you pronounced it.
Because
Well, I've always said Nquane, but now I'm wondering if you're right, if it's Nquane.
I would have said Nguane.
All right, let's go with Nquane then.
Yeah, looks
Yeah,
African.
I'd have said precinct, but
Okay. Right, so we're going to start wrapping the session, but because you've already started thinking about plans, and because there's quite a lot of leads for you to do, what I'll say is that it gets to the next morning. Breakfast, so if you want to finalise any of these things, as in when you want to do them, then tell me and I'll write them down, so that way you don't have to try and remember it for next week. And there's also a couple of other bits. So,
Right. Well,
when would you like to do those things?
one of us needs to go to Shiler Hall. One of us needs to go to
Call Harvard.
Jackson's publishers. One of us needs to go to Harvard University, and one of us needs to check out Emerson Imports. So it's one task. It's going to be one task per.
Potentially. But if it helps,
Or we could do all 4 together, or split in 2 or whatever.
If it helps, that morning you receive a telegram from Jonah, who basically offers his condolences and invites you to the funeral, which is on Friday, the 17th at 2 p.m.
At 2 p.m.
so that's the next day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it would be now because it's a Thursday.
That's a quick burial.
Yes.
But so
And I have nothing to wear, so whatever I do today, it must be to buy a black dress. All my clothes are in Los Angeles.
I was going to offer myself to go to Harvard University.
Is Harvard University actually in New York?
No, Harvard's in Massachusetts. New York University is in New York, but it's not in Manhattan. It's a bit further north.
It's University of Columbia in Manhattan, isn't it?
I'll try to resolve most of these things by phone. If we can't, we find a way to get there.
We may only have one shot at some of these things. It may be better to be in person if it is local enough to go in person.
I actually thought Harvard was in New York. That shrinks those necessities down to 2.
Harvard obviously is a phone call.
The Emerson Imports
Is a visit.
and Shiler Hall. If for no other reason, then
Yeah, I'd say we could go to Emerson. At least 2 of us. Let's make 2 and 2 so that we can cover more ground
Yeah.
before the next day.
So who's going to go to Emerson Imports and who's going to hit Shiloh Hall? I've got a feeling Shiloh Hall might actually just be a case of no, we don't know where he is, but it's at least it's worth checking out on the hope that he's still doing other lectures.
Yeah, you might have moved on. So,
I'm going to Emerson.
It could equally as be, instead of going Sherlock Hall, to just phone his university and ask where he is.
Very true. I'll do the phone rounds actually. I can phone Miskatonic and I can phone Harvard as well.
Okay. Is anybody else going to Emerson Imports?
I can go.
do you want to handle the phone calls then, Winston, or are you happy to do that and we three of us go to Emerson?
I should be able to handle those on my own.
So you're going to go to...
Three of us go to Emerson then.
Okay. Whenabouts do you want to do these things?
Straight away, and then I must go find a black dress. A
Literally,
funeral to go to.
Yeah, I
So
believe
you
that.
both want to do it after breakfast, so still in the morning on Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, assuming that Emerson Imports is a business, it should be open in the morning.
Okay. No problem. That's fine. And is there anything that you want to plan for Friday or even Monday for now, or do you want to leave that until after the funeral, possibly?
So, question: funeral is in New York.
Yeah. A funeral is local. It's at 2 p.m. on Friday, so tomorrow.
So his family is from New York.
You're not sure. He never really said.
You couldn't have told from his accent or anything.
I mean, his accent is blatantly African American, but there's a little bit of a flurry of different accents here and there. He's obviously well travelled. He speaks various languages fluently, so
Okay.
it's difficult.
Well, we could.
Tell
I
people.
think if we talk to the publisher, that might possibly open up new lines of inquiry. We talked about
Yeah, I mean, he invited you to the funeral,
yeah.
which implies he'll be there.
Yeah, let's see what we find out about Emerson, and I'll do the phone round, and hopefully that might raise some more things to bring up for the publisher.
Okay, so we've got Arthur, Francoise, and Johan going to Emerson Imports this morning. We've got Winston making a few phone calls to Miskatonic University in Harvard.
Yeah.
And you also plan to speak to Jonah when you go to the funeral on Friday afternoon.
And his family, of course.
And yes, and his family is the only family there. Anything else you want to plan now, or is that what you've got?
No,
I'd rather see how things pan out from here.
yeah, I think we need to see what info, if anything, these glean, and then make our plans from there.
Okay, wonderful. So, last thing then, when we leave it close for breakfast, you see this in the morning papers. And it eventually loads. Author murdered by brutal killers. Body found in Hotel Chelsea. Possible connection to Harlem murders by Rebecca Schosenberg.
2 Harlem murders. Because I can
Manhattan,
read
New
it.
York, January 15th. Author Jackson Elias has been found murdered in his Chelsea hotel room. The killers are reported to have used long knives to butcher their victim. Lieutenant Martin Poole of the murder squad stated that he is exploring possible connections between this murder and similar slayings in Harlem last year. Local resident Hilton Adams was convicted of the Harlem murders in October last and is awaiting execution in Sing Sing. Lieutenant Poole offered no opinion whether this new murder indicates that Adams had accomplices or is innocent of the earlier crimes.
We have new leads.
We have a very new lead.
Yeah, that's what we do in the afternoon, to the library to check on papers.
Thursday
Where
afternoon.
is Sing Sing?
Sorry?
I'm not
hold on,
going
let me just-
there.
There we go.
Where is Sing Sing?
Top of your head, you're not sure, but I'll allow a no roll.
It's New York State, isn't it?
Yeah,
Just ask the concierge.
Or yeah, you can ask the concierge, whatever you like. Okay. So the concierge says that yes, it is in New York. It's out of New York, up to the north, but it is a big prison.
Okay, all right.
So
Another
if in the
lead.
morning we are going to Emerson Imports, I'd say that someone in the afternoon may go to a library or a newspaper to check on these Harlem murders last year.
Depending on what comes up, we might actually go visit this person.
to be honest, my phoning shouldn't take that long. I can go to the library after the phone calls.
All right,
About this.
sounds good.
Okay.
Still, I don't believe going to Sing Sing and us to talk to somebody should grant us any kind of visits.
Is that the phone calls realistically shouldn't take too long, even for 1920s. So
That's fine.
I can do the library after this.
Right, I have written those down. And yes, we will wrap up today's session there, unless you've got any more questions or anything else you want to discuss.
Just one statement, which is how naive we were in the prologue when we said, "Oh, if one of us dies now, then the obvious character to take is Jackson."
Yep. Now you see why I wanted you all four together for this one.
Yeah.
It's not essential in every session. There are plenty of ways to make you out of the picture in character, but for this, I needed you all four.
Yeah, it's the opening
Yeah,
session of the chapter. You gotta be...
Actually, as soon as the whole thing started, I thought that maybe we missed something that led to its death, to its demise. But I don't actually believe that we missed anything, so I'm glad about that. That's not too much of our fault.
No,
But
this
this
is the
doesn't
start
look
of the
like it.
campaign. The prologue bit was apparently written later and wasn't even in the first edition, so I don't think it would actually impact anything in the campaign.
All right.
Well, it might. They might have changed bits.
Oh, maybe, but it's not going to be a major impact like that.
Let me just check I put that thing in. Cool. Okay. Cool. So
Cool.
I'll put Pool in there as well.
Steve is looking forward to next week. He really enjoyed this adventure.
I'm sure he is. I hope the rest of you enjoyed that as well.
Oh God, yeah.
Indeed.
Now
Of
you know
course.
why I was like, because seriously, Jackson's death. Hello.
That's
Yeah.
a lot
Big
to
moment.
sink in.
Yes.
Good info heavy session,
Yes.
which is, as far as I'm concerned, what Cthulhu's all about.
Yeah, I mean, when I read this, I was just like, my brain hurt after finishing the chapter. There was a lot of stuff, so you've been really good with, that. But obviously, again, if you have any questions for me during the week, or again, if you want to discuss anything about the clues you've got, in a time period, that's fine. Like, you'll need to, because there's lots of stuff to take in.
All right.
But everything is now in the drive for you.
Who's in charge of next week's summary?
It should be Becky, I believe.
There was quite a lot.
Cock. I didn't write anything down. I didn't know. I thought it was this week.
I did.
Such a princess.
I,
Yeah, but on the downs, on the upside, hardly anything happened.
it's true, actually.
Realistically, hardly anything happened. A lot of the session has been planning.
We leveled up,
You
and then
did.
Jackson died,
Yeah.
Indeed.
and a policeman interviewed us. There you go. They should recap. Just screen cap that and play it back next week. Don't get my luck points now.
I mean, what's happened, but that's in terms of information we got rather than,
Many, many handouts.
Lots and lots.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm going to finish the broadcast. I'm happy to chat for a bit afterwards, of course.
Yeah.
Although I need more weeks. Thank you, Steve, for
Yeah.
watching. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.